All right, welcome back. Pipes and redirections this time. Going to be a short one. Uh, what we're going to be doing here is how do you control the flow of data, right? Standard in, standard out, and standard error are going to be topics of conversation today. And then we're going to go over a few examples of when you might actually be using something like this. So let's go through the presentation real quick like we usually do. Okay, what is a redirection? On the high level, it controls where data goes. So this is controlling what ends up happening under particular conditions. And hopefully that made sense. So we have a standard redirection, which we're going to be using quite a bit. And then we have piping. Piping I don't use very often unless I need pagination for some reason. But it's a tool that you need to have just in case you do actually need it, and it's definitely one of those things where if you need it, you really need it, and I'll show you an example of that right now. So pipes send a result of one process to another. That is the definition of it. So in this case, we are piping to another process, which is less, which is a form of pagination if you are from the web development world. And it looks a little bit like this. So no volume there, you don't really need it. Come over here, we're going to print the directory. All right. So that's a very big directory, and you don't necessarily want to go through and just drag your cursor down to wherever you're looking for. So if we go back just a second, because I did not see what I wanted to see. I'm looking for the pipe. Okay, so I don't see the pipe in there. I don't see the pipe less. I will show you that here in a second. But look at this dot dot right here, and then also look at this bar over here. So it's definitely doing what I expected it to do. It's just now we have pages now, so you can hit enter until you get to the point that you actually want to get to. So this is a paged version of what we're looking for. All right. Okay, there's that. Okay, standard redirection you're going to use a lot. So standard in, STD in is the abbreviation for it, standard in, STD out, standard out, STD error, standard error. Okay, so you're going to be using these quite a bit, particularly in and error. Okay, so used to control streams of data. All right. I'm going to show you an example of this here pretty quick. So I'm going to call these arrows. So a single arrow creates a new file or replaces old content. Okay. A double arrow appends new content or creates new file. So if a file is found, it's going to replace the old content that's in the file. And then if a file is not found, it's going to make that file and append whatever string that you gave it. Most of the time it's going to be a string. Okay, same thing with the the double arrow is going to append the string if it's found a file. And then down here, which you're probably going to use a good bit, a fair bit. So multiple routes based on what ends up happening. So one single arrow. I have expected place here, but this can be any type of file name. If the directory is found on this, then do this. This other one is error, so two single arrow, error file, and then use for the error outcome. Okay, so example down here, list directory / does not exist if. So the condition one single arrow, I found the text. I'm going to make a new text file. If not, I did not find the file. If not found .txt. Okay. And then the last thing, standard out, is what this is going to be, is test.sh out to a cat, and that cat is going to print the content of that file, which we've already used a little bit already. Okay, so that's the end of the slideshow. However, let's go over a couple of those examples because I'm sure they didn't necessarily make sense. Let's start with pipe. Again, we're going to clear this. Here we go. So let's go ahead and do the cat etc dictionaries common words. So this is going to be without Linux piping. There we go. And notice that it gagged a little bit because it's a very big file. So let's go back up here. And this is where pagination is nice because I cannot get back up to the A's. I stop at tally here. Okay, so what's down here? We have E's. So I didn't even get the full result. All right, so to change that, we're going to do less. So right here is the pipe. Right here is that sub process or that new process that we're looking for. Okay, now we're starting at A's, and we have this semicolon here. Okay, enter seems to be a single line. Spacebar is a full page. Again, I don't use this very often, but this is a good example of maybe you should for this particular use case. And you get the point. Control C to get out of that, or not. Q is another option for that, for quit. All right, I'm going to clear just so we can have the full page again. So that was Linux piping. You're not going to use it very often, but it is there. Standard redirection. Okay, so let's start with a simple one. I want to get out of scripts. I would like to make a new directory, test folder. I'm going to go into that test folder, list just to show you that there's nothing in there. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to make a test text file. And we're going to do it with redirection here. So we're going to do arrow, test.text. Oh, come on now. Here we go. Test.text. We're going to ls. We got test.text. Now, if I cat test.text, it's going to come back as nothing because we didn't give it anything. So let's go ahead and fix that problem. We're going to give it a string, test string, standard redirection. We're going to do test2. I'm not going to do, well, yeah, sure, why not? Test string dot text2. Test string is not a command. What am I doing wrong? All right. Test string is still not a command. I am doing something wrong. All right, so this is a good example, guys, that you're not going to have everything memorized. So we're going to open up a new window here. Come on, Firefox. There you are. Okay, let's pull this up. Bash redirection. We're going to do single error. IO redirection, Red Hat. Oh, let's do this. ls, blah, blah, blah. Directory list. Okay, let's give that a run. Test string. Test 2. Okay, that is not working out for us. Okay. Okay, so my mistake was that I had string in here. So instead of doing this, we're doing test string, test 2. Why are things lying to me today? Data file name. Yeah, no, this is exactly how it was supposed to work. Okay. Okay, test 2. Okay, that was it. I learned the thing. So we gotta have echo for a string here to put it into a new file. So let's go ahead and list this. There we go. I'm gonna jump up. Actually, I'm gonna remove all. Here we go. Remove all. List. Everything is gone. So just to make that a little bit more clear, echo test string, and I'm going to call this test file. And there's that. Now what I'm going to do is print the content of that test file, like so, and it came up as test string. So now what I want to do is to make sure that we can actually append to that file. So instead of test string, I'm going to put in new string, test file, and then we're going to do the same thing as before, cat, test file, test string, and new string. And notice that it's also on a new line as well. So with that said, the last thing that I'm going to do is show you that you can overwrite everything in that file if you do this wrong. So if I do this, it's gone. Test file. It's gone. Okay, so if you have a problem like this where there's a logic error and that the last thing that you did, the last input that you put in, and that's the only thing that you had, this is likely your error right here. Okay, so the next thing is one, we need to remove everything again. Remove. And we need to do our operations based on conditions. So what we can do here is we're going to ls, we're going to list, and then we're going to list test file like this. Okay, that does not exist. So we're going to do one echo file found. Then if not, this is going to be a 2 echo file not found. Echo, huh? Okay, so what I'm trying here is, it seems to be that we have a issue with operations. Okay, I'm going to try this. These are creating new files as strings. That's very odd. Okay, well, remove. Come on, VM. You're not going to get better hardware than this. Okay, there is that. Let's do a little bit of live troubleshooting. And the reason why I keep these in here is to show you guys that, look, you're going to have these problems. You're going to have to figure it out. So let's go ahead. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually test file. No such file in the directory. So that is working. So what happens? Okay, so what I'm going to do here, because it did work partially, it just wasn't doing exactly what I wanted it to. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the result a little bit. So instead of a string, I'm just going to make a new file. Like this. Should not have been like that. Okay, well, doesn't make me look very well, does it? Okay, so we're going to remove clear touch script.sh. Okay, code script.sh. Okay, bin bash. All right. Okay, so we're going to, we haven't covered this yet, but we're going to test for a directory. I want to see /test file. No, I can't do it like this. It's not the same. All right, so that's going to do it for this one. There's an overview of redirections. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. To be clear, there is more than one way to do this, and in fact, I generally like testing for directories directly and then seeing what the result is, and then after that result, changing my direction that way, which is a little bit more traditional in terms of the program way. But there's a lot of developers out there, and particularly scripters, that like doing things on a single line if they can do that. So with that said, I will see you in the next one.